Thanks to T for interviewing me. I didn't really think I was interviewable, like I was somebody that you want to interview, but thanks for that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say, but hello, I'm Ravel and you're watching Schoolgirl TV.
I'm not your average girl, hey, not your average girl, hey, I'm not your average girl, but I'm a schoolgirl.
So I'm currently working as a production management assistant at BBC Entertainment. I'm working on a production called Christmas City at the moment, and that's to do with the Christmas markets in Manchester. I have to coordinate the whole entire production from pre-production to post-production and delivery. So my role involved booking crew, transportation kit, etc. All the production management tasks you would think about that needs to happen in a production. Because I came from a production coordinator in an independent background, I kind of take on a lot more than a regular production management assistant would do. So I do clearance of footage, I also do booking crew, kit, travel, transportation, visas, vaccinations. I also, take care of all the talent. I also make sure that their travel is sorted out, their any special requirements they have, meals, etc., advances, do budgeting, do schedules. I also do quite a lot of things on production. If I'm on production on set, I would do something different than if I was in the office. In the office, I handle the logistics. In summary, as a production coordinator, as a production management assistant, you are the first point of contact on the production. You are the person in the middle between the production management team and the creative team. So your role is mandatory for the production to succeed. The reason why I wanted to get into the entertainment and the reason why I'm there now is just because I wanted to try something new, and I feel like the content would help challenge me. Yeah, so I started my career as a production management assistant in TV in June 2016. Before that, I worked as a production coordinator for a year and a half. So I worked as a production coordinator from 2015, so from like January 2015. And before that, I went to university and I studied media and performance. So media and performance, my course actually entailed me doing all the stuff that you do in media as well as performance. So we did about TV acting, about TV, film, etc. I wasn't quite sure when I started that course what I was going to get into. So I thought, when I was in that course, I was like, I'm going to be an actor forever and ever, and that's going to be it and nothing else. And then final year at university, we did a course on, what was it called now? On TV. So we did a course on TV and I worked as a production coordinator on that course. So then I excelled, I went above and beyond, and I got an extremely high grade for that. And that proved to me that that's my talent. So from then on, I did an internship for 6 months at a production company, and it was a film company. I worked as a production executive, so I did quite a lot of things at that film company. It's not how your production executive works on TV, but production executive in terms of production assistant, you could say that. And then from then on, I went on to a role as a production coordinator in an independent sector. And I started doing coordinating of feature films as well as digital content. I can remember now my first ever thing I had to coordinate as a production coordinator was going to Kenya for 6 weeks, which was very scary, and coordinate a bunch of actors, a bunch of of people and talent I'd never heard of before, and people I've never worked with or not even been abroad, and that was challenging. I think that was the toughest part in my career, to actually coordinate such a large amount of people, because that project that I actually started off with was funded by the UK and US government. So it was just a huge schedule, and it was a huge project to coordinate. And then I thought, I've done film, I've also done feature films, I've done digital content, let me get into TV. So then that's when I started at the BBC, and I started in Religion and Ethics, Songs of Praise. First production started off with Songs of Praise, where The Big Sing. I had to coordinate a congregation of 5,000 people. and I had a lot of talent to coordinate. I had music, hymns to sort out, travel, transportation, booking crew, equipment. I actually worked on set at Royal Albert Hall, 2 episodes. There were very, 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 very big episodes as well to coordinate. And then, I moved on to entertainment now, where it's, very different. So, just to tie in everything together, in production management and in production management as a career, you kind of get to do quite a lot of different things, and in different projects there are different requirements as well. I would say the first one, you have to be creatively problem solving. So what I mean is you have to think of a problem, and if there's a problem that needs resolving, sometimes you have to be creative with that. So if you have a team going to a remote location, you have to be thinking, how am I going to solve if somebody needs a toilet, and if there's not a toilet on set, etc. You have to be creatively problem solving. The second thing I would say is always be thinking one step ahead. You always have to be thinking further ahead than anybody else, so you have to foresee what the future holds. So you have to kind of think, okay, so if I'm having a crew going to Kenya, I'm going to have to make sure that the visas are sorted, and how long is that going to take for the visas to be sorted? Then location, how long am I going to take to get the location release form from that? If there's not a toilet on set in a different location, make sure that there's a portaloo. You get a portaloo involved. If if there's snakes or harmful animals or creatures or insects, etc., anti-venom, you need stuff like that. So you should always be thinking one step ahead and never become complacent. So that's the second thing. And third thing as well, you have to maintain constant communication. Make sure that you are very clear, and every time you explain yourself, make sure that the other person knows what you're saying. Everything can be misinterpreted when it's a busy schedule. In order for me to get into production management, I actively seeked out a mentor. So I had a mentor before I got into the BBC. I had a mentor who worked at the BBC, and he was director, head of BBC Northwest. And a mentor actually keeps you grounded and makes you push yourself a lot more. Having that key insight into that career that I wanted to get into helped me quite a lot, because I knew what skills I needed. And also, even the work doesn't actually stop there. Even now I'm at the BBC, I actively seek out mentors. If I want to become a production manager in the end, then I'm going to find somebody who's a production manager and who's doing very good at it, and I'm going to try and make that person my mentor. My mom, and she was a massive support for me. She's constantly saying, Ravel, push yourself. Mom's a Jamaican woman. She's like, you need to be working hard. So she's constantly pushing me. I have had a problem before with asking people for help and saying, like, I can do this. I'm not gonna ask anybody for help. But over time, I've realized, sometimes you don't know everything, because you can't necessarily know everything, and people are there who have experienced it, and it's easy to be transparent and very clear and ask questions. Questions enable you to, learn a lot more. I've learned over time in my career a lot about training and always constantly developing yourself, that there is always room for that, and you should always never get complacent. So even if, say for instance, now I'm at the BBC, now I'm working as a production management assistant, I should be thinking, how can I make myself better as a production management assistant? And if not that, how can I get into the next career steps? I have learned along the way to, don't be afraid to ask questions, and even as silly as it sounds, at the end of the day, you'll find the answer for it, and then you can move forward. It's not a silly question. Nothing's a silly question. It might be silly to you, not to somebody else. I also felt like along the way in my career, I was so driven. I come from a background where it's saying hard work, it pays off, etc. You go to school to learn. You go to school, you don't come to school to go play. And when I was in school in Jamaica, you used to get beats if you didn't do your homework, etc. So I went to school, went to university. I said, I'm going to go to university. I go to university to learn. It doesn't really matter if I socialize that much. I'm going to go to university to learn and take myself home. So along the way, I've learned a lot about socializing and speaking to a lot of people. I am a very sociable person, but I was very, if I start working, I would be very deep down into work, and that would be it. Become your true self, because a lot of time you get into an industry, or you get into a place where you feel like you have to ascribe to the type of things that are happening, like the type of environment it is. Still be true to yourself, and still be the real you, and never let anybody else kind of tell you to be somebody else that you're not, and never try to be somebody else you're not. Because for me, I can do a rebel quite well. If you tell me to go do a Talisha, well, I mean, I wouldn't really know how to start with that. I can do a rebel quite well. So for me, it's just being true to myself, knowing who I am, asking questions, and also socializing. It's okay to say I don't know how to do this. It's okay, because failure is the start of you becoming a successful person. You learn from your mistakes, and never be afraid to fail. Thank you for watching my interview, schoolgirls. Hopefully it was beneficial. I tried to hit all the key elements as much as possible, but until next time, I guess. See you guys later. Bye.